in the normal store process. Finally, I just want to go back to Bull Merchant. We were really interrupted earlier on by somebody saying we should have invested in Bull Merchant earlier. Well, that may be so, but what I can tell you is when I held a consultation on that about 2 years ago, I had 10 Liberal Democrat councillors come and 1 Conservative. And one of those 10 Liberals said we would never do it.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, what I want to say, Madam Mayor, is we did do it. And it's right on budget and right on time. Thank you very much.
Councillor Lafont, please.
Thank you. You keep saying you're the worst funded council in the country, yet you still insist on spending money on your overpriced and out-of-date regeneration plan for Wokingham Town Centre. To date, you have spent £15 million plus, and nothing's completed. No contracts are signed. Oh, we've got a lift. Okay. We feel that you have been wasting money, and that you should have been doing a lot more with what you already have. Some of you have proposed reductions in pages 52 and 53 of your MTMP. Could have been implemented last year, but they weren't. We should be looking at discussing with towns and parish councils on the types of services that they can provide, with our help, in conjunction with us. But we have to allow them the time to get organised and discuss with us how to provide these services. To this aim, I will be bringing forward a motion at the next full council asking the council not to introduce the cuts or reductions in services without discussing with the towns and parishes, which are our communities, to give them an opportunity to enter into detailed discussions on how they could possibly pick up and run and contribute either individually or collectively with us. This may delay some of the proposed savings of £5.9 million for 14-15's budget, but if the services can be provided by the towns and parish councils, then a delay in the implementation of these proposals is no bad thing. At last year's budget meeting, we raised our concerns about the cuts in service to youth services and the services to and for the elderly, and the scale of future borrowings. We also had concerns on the delivery pressures within the education department, which again is raised this evening. We said that the council's companies would find it difficult to achieve targets and deliver real incomes to compensate this council for the money that it is investing in them. And it is becoming increasingly difficult to understand exactly what they're doing, let alone any form of transparency for which they have a duty, we have a duty to demand and get. You are failing us, you're failing our communities, who we work on their behalf. Again, I express my concerns on your service cuts. Thank you very much. To the elderly and vulnerable. Thank you.
Thank you. As an opposition, it is our role to provide an alternative. This evening, we have given the outline of an alternative to the proposals for your regeneration of Wokingham Town Council, Wokingham Town Home. We like to do that as well, but never mind. Sorry. And we have come up with some ideas for looking through the future to help local businesses in this town. We agree that if nothing's done, there will be problems. And we want to be able to take things forward on our proposals, and we will be communicating this and consulting with outside. This is an important area. Our main concern is that the council has dug itself in to a proposal which we feel is now outdated. There are lots of information going on that people are now buying by internet, not going to shops, and just building more shops is not the way forward. It's high risk and it could cause a real problem. There are words in the statements of the budget which, when you can interpret, do indicate concern. And £95 million spent over the period, and 59 over the next 3 years, is a significant sum of money to spend for a relatively small council as ours. And I think we need to be prepared to look at alternatives. It isn't just the particular Elmsfield, it's the whole concept of the development that you have, and we are trying to put forward an alternative proposal based on 21st ideas, 21st century ideas, where we're bringing in the internet, click and connect for all the small businesses. Imagine if we could provide this so that the baker can able to go and order things so you can get them. The companies on their own cannot afford it, but we as an enabler could. And I think that's something we should seriously think about in the future now that we move forward. Not focus on the 1990s proposal, and I'm afraid there seems to be some dogged determination that come what may, this is what we are going to do. And I think it's time for a rethink. And I think, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Councillor Hickenley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This year, again, I stand here on behalf of Children's Services with a grim face as we prepare to tackle head-on another year of cuts from central government. In the forthcoming months, I'll be bringing recommendations to Executive around special educational needs and disabilities and a paper on homeschool transport. These are both areas in which we see immediate and increasing demand on our smaller and smaller budgets. You just have to look at the medium-term financial plan on page 55 and 58. However, I do not want to speak without also pausing to mention some of our resounding successes and ambition contrary to Councillor McGann's views. It was only today that the Department of Communities and Local Government visited us in order to understand why our Families First programme is one of the most successful in the whole country. Working together with our partners, such as health, police, education and the voluntary sector, we have built a sustainable model that gives families a new lifeline. It will continue to deliver those outcomes for our families who face some of the greatest challenges, even when future governments may potentially withdraw this joint funding. You will see from the medium-term financial plan, in the next 3 years, we continue investing in our children's future. A key part of this is education. Councillor Rowland and McCann will be relieved that we have a focus on supporting all of our schools. Over the last year, we've built 3 brand new state-of-the-art primary schools, as well as investing in so many of our other schools. Just one example of this year's proposed investment is within our secondary sector. I look forward to shortly bringing a recommendation to Executive that looks to allocate in the region of £2 million to Embrook Secondary School to help it to continue to improve its standards of teaching and learning. The school has determined that the best use of the funds will be to replace a number of temporary buildings with a purpose-built teaching block for the school's English department. Officers have been working closely with the school to develop a scheme. Councillor Shepherd-Debay might be interested to know that Embrook School did not close recently due to floodwaters, but because of the sewage. So the new systems that we have invested there have worked. Lastly, we're also engaged in consultation with communities in the south of the borough to see how we can deliver a new school for students in that area. Again, the medium-term financial plan shows our commitment to developing this, which is a fundamental piece of the jigsaw for residents who so desperately want and need a local school. This budget is ambitious and it delivers exceptional value for money and ensures we continue to deliver the very best services we can in these austere times for all of our residents.
Thank you very much. You all voted for an extension of time, so now we have time. Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Swaddle.
Well, it's been an interesting budget debate. We've had the Lib Dems, the 8 of them, propose amendments to freeze council tax through a range of completely unfunded and magic money. And then, having proposed this, I haven't mentioned anybody or caused any confusion, sure.
We have to pass the section 151 to agree that they were technically correct and therefore they cannot possibly be magic money and unfunded because you wouldn't approve them.
So withdraw the remark. Withdraw the remark.
I'm glad that not only can they not understand maths, but they cannot understand the Constitution either. There was no personal comment about anybody, so it cannot be a point of... Anyway, we will move on to the second part of their contribution this evening. Having suggested that we could save a lot of money through magic means, they then went to propose spending lots of money in all of their proposals as to what we should do with the council tax as proposed by us. So I think we can see really the complete ineptitude of the team that pretends to oppose. So I commend this budget, and I hope that you will all support it along with myself.
Thank you. Before I ask Councillor Porat to speak, has you all spoken now? Nobody been forgotten about? No. So, Councillor Porat, please.
Thank you, Madam. So where do I start? Well, in the plans, we are planning to save something like £26 million over the next 3 years. That's about 6 million next year and 20 million in the following 2 years. So I think we're doing our bit for cost savings. We have in the long grass coming over the horizon at us something called the Care Bill, which used to be called the Dilrot Report. As Julian said, lots of sort of uncertainties, but possible 4 million cost to us. Hence my concerns about the future. My little Democrat opponents, don't seem to care about the year after next or the next year, and happy to put us in the hands of the government, who might hopefully be nice to local government and give us some more money after the election. Well, last time before the last election, I was one of the few people who suggested we plan for cuts. And everybody said, no, it's not going to happen. No. So, I don't trust government's if, but and maybe, and conversations with our 151 officer, he agrees with me. Turning to other bits and pieces, I have a pleasant announcement to make. We have our money back from the Icelandic banks. I said in 2008 or something like that we'd get at least 95%, and I can announce that we have got 96%. So I'm feeling rather chuffed with myself, and very pleased with Graham and his team for sorting that all out. Anyway, Wokingham Town Centre. Yes, we disagree. We have ambition, bluntly, you don't. Wokingham Town has 32,000 current residents, with another 10,000 due with the new housing. And Arborfield, which is really within the Wokingham sort of area from a point of view of shopping, has probably at least another 5,000, if not a few more. So we have a growing population. The reports, and they were referred to, but there are 3 of them. There's the one from about 2000 and something or other, and then there's 2 more recent ones, updated I think 2010 and 2013. One of the key numbers in there is they reckon we're going to need 64% more retail to just meet current and projected need. We're only providing 40. So I think we've got reasonable protection on that. One of the issues with Wokingham Town is we tend to have a lot of small units but not some decent sized units, so we can't get some national retailers to complement the mix in the town centre. So we have ambition. We want to increase footfall. If you look back at the town centre, we've had a lot of people coming in from a lot of extra places to eat in the last 20 years, and now we need some extra shops. Getting a little bit. The other piece, Prue made a comment about 106 money. Again, no more magic money coming from 106 for the
Sorry, mate. You shut me up quick.
You want magic mushrooms tonight?
Councillor Lee.
Thank you very much. Where to start? Lindsay, you have been telling us that we're all moving to click and collect, so we're going to turn this into a dormitory town. You could have said we needed updating, but this, you then went on to not explain how you would do that. But if you actually read one of your blogs, I think there is quite an interesting thing there, because it does summarise very clearly what we intend to do. And we get the same old chestnut time after time after time. We do nothing. We do everything wrong. I'm going to explain to you 65 million is cost of Woodley, and that's before we even get to look at regenerating your town centre of Woodley. Total spend 65 million. Your amendment, savings you say £936,000, but half of this is from reserves. Now, I can outside of tonight's meeting, outside of tonight's meeting, Tom, take you through what an actual saving is, because that's not a saving. And as an authority, it's our forte to say we have saved 25 million since 2010. And one other point, Tom, you raised a point there about transparency and how much money we'd invested in our companies and made in the return. Again, I'll explain to you. If you're a housing company, what you need to do is to have money to build the houses which you then rent. Or let me tell this council tonight that our housing company, in a very few years, will have built 180 houses, generating a rent stream to this authority of an excess of 1.2 million to continue with the services that are so vital to our residents. So that's true transparency. If you want me to take that through you again, I'll certainly do that.
Show me the paperwork.
I will show you whatever paperwork you want on that. Right? So, with this careful management, we are about to spend £80 million next year on much needed capital infrastructure to this. Beth, you talk about working together. We are working together with Reading Education. We are working together with Windsor on our legal services. We're working together with West Berkshire on our environmental services. So we are doing that. And Rochelle, I know that Charlotte has mentioned this, but you said we did nothing. We dredged the Edinburgh. That's why it didn't flood. So we are working on that, and Angus has advised me that task force, we're going to sort out other issues here. Car parking in Twyford and the library, Pauline has taken this further in such a short period of time that you and your former colleague who went on and on and on about it did nothing.
Still
and
no
you
money in the
knew
budget, David.
that the
Well,
proposed
there is.
dates put forward were
106.
not correct. So, the last thing I would say, also you said, there's nothing in the budget for decriminalisation. Look at page 101, there's 222,000.
I know what I said.
It is, exactly. And also, Rochelle, you were offered to be the chairman of that working group. But your leader said it shouldn't be accepted by the
Because it's your bloody council.
So, but you keep saying true, you should be involved. And when we involve you, you don't want to take responsibility. I believe I'm speaking true. Yes, exactly. So, Madam Mayor, I would recommend that we receive and adopt the budgets as laid out in the paper. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are going to take separate votes in respect of each of the four reports. Starting with the housing revenue account budget. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against?
Is that your voting again?
Not the vote against anything, I think
No, you're not voting for our housing account. I think you're therefore voting against
We're
improving.
having a meeting here, or we're having a debate and a vote?
Well,
I don't know what you are doing. I was going to ask you the same thing. I asked for a vote in respect of the housing revenue account budget. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? Any The capital programme and strategy. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Treasury management strategy. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions?
I think everybody's in vote.
Thank you. We are now getting to the medium-term financial plan, where we will take a recorded vote, as I explained earlier this evening.
Okay. Councillor Baker.
For
Councillor Bath. 4. Councillor Bowring.
4.
Councillor Bradley.
4.
Councillor Brown.
Against.
Councillor Chopping. 4. Councillor Clark. Councillor Corrie.
4.
Councillor Cowan.
4.
Councillor Ferris.
Against?
Councillor Firmager. 4. Councillor Gilder.
Against.
Councillor Grandison.
4.
Councillor Haynes.
4.
Councillor Haytham Taylor.
4.
Councillor Hillier Simons.
4.
Councillor Holdsworth. 4. Councillor Holton.
4.
Councillor Jorgensen Head. 4. Councillor Jorgensen.
4.
Councillor Kaiser. 4. Councillor King.
4.
Councillor Lee.
4.
Councillor Lloyd.
4.
Councillor McCann.
Against.
Councillor McGee-Sumner.
4.
Councillor Miles.
4.
Councillor Murphy.
4.
Councillor Monroe.
4.
Councillor Patman.
4.
Councillor Pitton.
4.
Councillor Pitts.
4.
Councillor Pollock.
4.
Councillor Ramooni.
Against.
Councillor Richards.
4.
Councillor Ross.
4.
Councillor Rowland.
Against.
Councillor Shepherd-Duvet. Councillor Singleton.
Abstain.
Councillor Slight.
4.
Councillor Stanton.
4.
Councillor Swaddle.
4.
Councillor Tomlin.
Against.
Councillor Weeks.
4.
Councillor Wyatt.
4.
Councillor Hughes.
4.
So that is carried. Let's move on to agenda item 75, and I call on Councillor Baker, please. Yes, sorry, Councillor.
Turning order 4212M, I'd like to suggest that as we've had quite a delay in the meeting, that we vote now to continue the meeting before after 10:30. Give ourselves an extra half hour. I think we may run out of time
Did
otherwise.
you have a second on that? Okay, so all those in favour of extending?
Forward decision.
Well, give us some warning.
Okay, so we extend it. Councillor Baker, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be very brief. Hopefully we can get through this quite quickly. You have in front of you the MDD that's already been approved by the Executive and needs full Council approval. The MDD is a critical document in our suite of planning documents, and it's critical in that it's there to provide enhanced protection against inappropriate development. It provides things like internal space standards, things like parking standards, the green infrastructure, etc. And very importantly, it has been accepted that the MDD does provide a 5-year rolling housing land supply. So that means we can resist ad hoc type developments because we satisfy that government requirement. That has actually started coming through in appeals against refusal, where inspectors are actually quoting this. That's really all I need to say, Madam Mayor.
Do you have a second on this?
Madam Mayor, I
Did you wish to speak now or later?
Yes, I can speak now. I welcome this document as part of the suite supporting the cost. Supporting the core strategy. It protects our residents against inappropriate building and also helps with the enforcement area. So I recommend this to the Council.
Does anybody else like to speak? Councillor Gray, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say that producing this document was a mammoth amount of work on the part of officers who not only had to deal with the normal pushy developers and tangled bureaucratic procedures, but also the introduction of completely different national planning policy right in the middle of the process. And they deserve our thanks for their hard work in steering this plan to adoption. The Liberal Democrat Group does not agree with every single line of the MDD, but we do recognise its importance because, as Keith said, it demonstrates that we have an adequate 5 identified sites and the number of houses scheduled to be built in the borough. And its adoption will help protect us against speculative planning applications for housing in unsuitable locations, not least, I may say, in my own ward. And that has to be a good thing. And one regret I have, which I believe from what Angus said earlier, we actually may share with the Conservatives, is that the planning inspector who assessed the document has ruled that we are not allowed to include within the plan the idea of a third Thames Bridge, because South Oxfordshire object to it. We all know the current travel difficulties as a result of Solid Bridge being closed to flooding. We need that extra bridge, and South Oxfordshire have blocked it for too long already.
Councillor Cowell, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proof took some of the words out of my mouth, actually. All I was going to say, I attended the examination in public, or public inquiry, whatever you want to call it. And I thought our officers were absolutely fantastic, professional, and did a superb job. And I personally would like to offer my thanks to them for doing such a great job for the benefit of this borough.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In my ward, many residents are concerned about the dual impacts of the Working United Charities land in the MDD-DPD policy SAL01 for around 100 dwellings, and the adjoining Bracknell Forest development of 1,000 houses, or about that, on the old TRL site. And some residents have wanted our site removed. There are also, by a parish council resolution, raising the issue of core strategy CP21-4 regarding the separation in the Crowthorne and Bracknell working triangle. Can I ask the executive member to explain the effect, if a change were to be made at this stage, to either the MDD or the core strategy? Would it require new consultation and a new examination in public? And would that risk us losing our 5-year land supply? If that were the result in an open house for developers during that period, which would threaten my ward as well as the rest of the borough, then for the best immediate outcome for my residents, I would have to vote for the adoption of the MDD-DPD.
Yes, basically, if we wanted to modify either of those documents, you're right back to square one. So all the protection that we've been experiencing from the core strategy to date, and all the protection that we will experience from the MDD in the future, will be lost temporarily, but probably for 18 months. We will have to go back to full consultation, full public examination, and my estimate that will take about 18 months to bring to fruition, and in that 18 months it will be a free-for-all, because we won't have any protection against inappropriate development.
Thank you. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Agenda item 76, Councillor Kaiser, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The subject of homelessness, to many of us, conjures that image of rough sleepers on the bench or on the street. Much of the homelessness is hidden, as on friends' sofas, spare room, or in holiday caravans or unsuitable mobile homes. While the established definition of homelessness might simply be viewed as someone who is without permanent settled accommodation, in reality, the picture is much more complex. Homelessness can affect any one of us at any time. Factors such as debt, relationship breakdown, physical or mental health issues, or leaving institutions such as the armed forces can set off a chain of events which will sometimes spiral out of control and lead to homelessness. Early intervention in the form of good and accessible advice is essential. In line with the national picture, we are now seeing far more of our residents who are struggling to sustain their homes in Woking Borough. Our focus remains on helping local people to keep or find long-term homes and creating opportunity for all Woking Borough residents in need. Tackling and preventing homelessness forms a key part of the Council's vision, a great place to live and an even better place to do business, with the priorities for delivering the vision including the provision of affordable homes, looking after the vulnerable and improving health and well-being and quality of life for the borough residents. Tackling homelessness is much more than meeting our statutory obligations. It carries a moral and ethical duty, which considers the markers such as increasing food banks, rising overcrowding, as well as hidden homelessness, such as an increase in sofa surfing. This strategy comes at a time of change when we prepare for the formation of a new community in the strategic development locations. It is critical that we continue to focus, ensuring we offer good customer services and come up with creative solutions which meet residents' needs. And as such, I recommend this paper to the Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'm seconding reserve my position.
Does anybody else wish to speak?
John.
No? Councillor Hosmer.
Thank you. I simply like to add to John Kaiser's remarks and just point out the fact that we're using some of our affordable housing money, community money, to in fact create additional spaces for the homelessness. We've done this recently at Wovenhams. We've got 3 units now in use just for that. We also hope in the next couple of years, John and I, to bring forward substantial, significant new social housing, again from committed sums, which is all part of the homeless.
All those in favour of the recommendation, please. Anyone against? Abstentions?
Thank you. Treasury Management, mid-year report, one of the exciting documents that we have to consider tonight. This is simply a report from the first 6 months of the year, which shows that we are on target, that we've complied with our strategies, that we haven't done anything that we shouldn't have done. The bits I think I probably would like to just draw members' attention to is on, where is it now, page, yes, here we are, page 201. It was just a reflection of the debt management that we have been undertaking, well, really since 2008-9, with interest rates coming down, and we've been rescheduling our debts, and you can see that we've got 17.7 million under 12 months, and most of the debt over 10 years. So that gives us a low rate of interest that we're paying, and it is fixed into the future. So again, that is something I think is a good thing. You can see that we have borrowing requirements that we're not using. You can also see the places that we put money, etc., and the investment portfolio. We currently have some, well, in this day, 45.8 million. A lot of this is because we get a lot more grants than we have done, particularly for capital projects, particularly in the education field, that we received prior to implementation of those. And we have also been using some of these funds to fund our own internal capital programme, which again saves us the interest which we would otherwise have to pay to the government. So I would commend this report to you.
Do you have a second? Do you wish to speak now or later?
Later, anyway.
Thank you. I don't really want to spoil on today's good news, but I would like to remind members that of the £5 million that we invested in Iceland, we've currently received 4.9 million back. We were expecting to get 6, including interest. I congratulate Graham and his team for getting back what we have got back. And maybe if there is an auction of assets, as mentioned in the papers, we may get some more. I don't know. However, it is a concern of what we've lost in inflation. We all know that inflation's been running higher than the 2% the government would like over the past few years. So I think if we knock down the 4.9%, it would be considerably less than we think it might be, if you get my logic.
Anyone else who wishes to speak? No? Councillor Heath,
I wouldn't really want to say any more apart from what Anthony said, except on page 188, the very first line, just going back to amendments and budgets. The Council operates a balanced budget which broadly means cash raised during the year will meet the cash expenditure. And I think the borrowing also has shown very clearly that this is a well-run organisation, and I would also like to thank the officers And Anthony for the work they've done over the years. I would recommend this is great.
All those in favour, please? Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. Carried. Councillor Haytham, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As per the recommendation on page 213, I'd like to ask members to support this paper asking for Judith Branson to be appointed to the role of Director of Children's Services. Judith sadly can't be here tonight to have a moment in the spotlight. She sends her apologies as she had a prior engagement booked before taking on this new role. Judith joined Woking Borough Council in 2009 as Assistant Director for Children's Social Care and Early Intervention, and it is only fair to say that what she, together with her teams, have done and accomplished in those 3 years has been tremendous. She has always remained focused, ambitious and motivated. She has led system and cultural changes across her services which have delivered demonstrable outcomes for children and young people in our borough. I'm very pleased to be making this recommendation here tonight, and especially pleased that Woking Borough Council is growing our own talent and recognising its leading lights for a brighter and more sustainable future.
Thank you very much. Do you have a second, please?
John.
Beth, did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to second this as well. I'm sorry that Judith's not here tonight. It's not very often you can stand in the council chamber and hear people say something nice about you. I know this feeling. Tonight we're officially welcoming her to Woking Borough Council. She knows as well that her new position as DCS will be a huge change for her. From my side of the chamber, we look forward to Judith's continued hard work in the borough, in our schools, and on her learning journey in the years to come. We wish her well.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to say anything? No? Okay, so all those in favour, please show. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Wishes before the Tuesday.
Yet again, one of my irregular appearances proposed changes to the Constitution. As I always say, we don't want to do it very often, but there seem to be a few things to tidy up every month. This time there are changes to the clarity of the treatment of petitions, the reporting and of non-executive members of directors of council-owned companies at full council, the additional transparency on disclosure of interests, and changes around joint procurements. I ask you that you support these.
Yes.
Mr. Bray, do you wish to speak now?
Yes, thank you. It's quite normal to be asked to second it before you get to the meeting. I just wanted to draw attention to 2 points. It is changes. One is that we welcome the fact that non-executive directors of council-owned companies will be giving statements at council meetings, because we haven't had any statements. We'd quite like to know what is going on in those companies. So apart from the very long one that David gave last time.
Thank you.
Was a trial of squeezing a lot into a very short time and somewhat overflowing. And the other thing that I'd like to point out is perhaps more interesting, which is the change to point out that the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee actually has the power to demand responses from what's called a responsible person. That's the people who are actually legally responsible for bits of, for example, the NHS budgets and things. If the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee requests a response from them, they are legally obliged to give them one. And I think that perhaps will help us to get to grips with some of the more intractable issues in the NHS. Thank you very much.
Anybody else wishes to speak? No? Okay, so all those in favour, please. Right, I call on Councillor Ross.
You've got item 8.
sorry. Agenda item 80. Councillor Lee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Some doubt about that. I remember earlier in the year we had a number of comments that we would not be able to recruit people in the light of the previous enumeration panel and how wrong those comments were. I'm happy to announce an appointment for a new and fifth and final member of the remuneration panel, which brings it back up to its full strength. Malcolm Safin, I wish him well, along with the four we've already appointed. Some members we do have now in full complement of the independent members of the remuneration panel, and I wish them all well. Thank you.
Any second? Councillor Lee, do you wish to speak now?
Later, please.
Councillor McKenna.
Thank you. I welcome this position being filled. I hope they last longer than the last ones. It can be a bit of a rocky road, but I wish them the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing the reports and that we as a council 99.999% accepting them. Thank you.
All those in favour, please. Sorry.
I would endorse this recommendation, and I'm sure that this group is made of sterner stuff and will continue to give solid advice to this council, and we will decide on which point one of it that we make, which challenge.
Okay, again, all those in favour, please. Thank you, that is carried. Now then, Councillor Ross.
Madam Mayor, I do thank you for the opportunity to speak at this time, or at the end of rather special times, and that is for this council to express its sincere thanks and gratitude to all those who've been involved with us in the recent storm and floods, which has gone on since Christmas, but most severely, of course, this month, affecting many parts of the borough, not only those close to the Thames and Loddon. We're now officially entering the recovery phase. We appreciate the soul-destroying effect on families who've had to leave their homes or live for days isolated with floodwater surrounding their homes. Others who have suffered contaminated water around their properties where sewage systems have not coped with ground or surface water levels. All work was coordinated by our Emergency Operations Centre here, and I do wish to express our thanks internally for them. Many organisations have been involved, adding their expertise. This includes many parts of this council, the police, the fire and rescue service, which you might be interested to know around Berkshire has been supplemented by crews from 33 other fire services around the country. Also the Army, the Environment Agency, Thames Water, and many, many acts of native help. And of special mention, CBEV, that's the Berkshire Lowland Search and Rescue. They're all unpaid volunteers. They were immensely helpful to us, not only in assisting in sandbag filling, but also in rescues and help provided in and around our considerable stretch of the Thames, from Thames Valley Park through Swanning Wargrave to Remenham and Aston. Can I just add one explanation here? Some residents may have the impression the council ignored them because all they saw was one team, maybe the Fire and Rescue Service or CBAV or whoever. Can I stress that this became a very well coordinated operation and each of these teams were working within this council's central coordination. Briefly, dog owners need to be aware of floodwater as well as people. Because very often this floodwater is contaminated and people should contact the council if they're at all concerned. Just to end, Madam Mayor, we'll all need to learn from this and invest. But on this occasion what I want to do is to thank again all our colleagues and again give our best wishes and understanding for all those affected by this disaster. And we will pass on thanks individually to all the helper groups very soon. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Our last item for tonight, Councillor Pauline Jurgensen.
I'll make it.
Sorry.
Hi, James. I would like to propose the timetable of meetings for the next year on page 225.
No, unless there's other speakers, I'm just happy to second it. I'll hold.
Councillor Tomlin, please.
Yeah, the Liberal Democrat Group have expressed concern before over timetables of meetings. We have not had a meeting since November. We didn't have one in January. So much so, I understand special council exec had to be held to agree the council tax base. Not very democratic, not very open. Also, less opportunity for members of the public to come along and ask questions. So, also, if you look at the July timetable, quite a few of those meetings now go right into the holidays, especially school summer holidays, and of course this is also school half term. There are quite a lot of late meetings in July, so it's a bit of a shame because it doesn't give everybody opportunities to turn up to all the meetings they want to turn up to.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stanton, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It is the last item of the evening. This timetable was, in fact, as proposed. There has been war groups, so it's really here just for adoption. The only comment I would make, which may be a little bit emotive at the end of the day, but the calendar is published, and I can well work my holiday well calendar. So I think that's something we need to do. Just very sorry, but that's what I do. So I think we really, the other thing I just want to point out is there is a change of executive dates this year between April and May, due entirely to the movement of the local elections to late May. So we have moved the executive meeting from May back to April, and then there will be further meetings after the elections on the 22nd of May. So that is the other major change. Other than that, it is as set out in the agenda, and thank you very much.
Thank you. All those in favour, please. Anyone against? Any abstentions? That is carried. And this concludes tonight's council meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.